Right, I think we are live. Hello, everyone. Michaela here. I am hopping on to give you guys another free tip. This is actually a free tip for all of you screenwriters out there. So we're going to talk about dialogue-driven scripts versus action-driven scripts. So what the difference is, and there really isn't a preference in my case, so I'm not going to go over which one's better, which one's not. Because essentially you're going to use both in your script, but I'm going to tell you what the difference is. So let's start with dialogue driven. Dialogue driven scripts are basically where your dialogue drives your story forward. So as screenwriters, we're essentially storytellers. That's exactly what we are. We're storytellers. And so we are telling the story through our writing. And the way that you want to write your scripts is you want to constantly unfold the story and push it forward. And you may have heard that saying, just keep the story moving, keep pushing forward with your story and keep it going, right? So that's essentially what you do, but it's through your dialogue. So the dialogue is really, really important. So if you've ever watched like a movie or a TV show where you're listening to the dialogue and then you miss something that was really important to the storyline and you have to go rewind and go listen to the line again, that is an example of a dialogue driven project, or script. So your dialogue and what the characters say basically push your script forward and the story forward, and it tells the story. If you miss the dialogue while you're watching it, then you might miss parts of the story, if that makes sense. Now, action driven, let's talk about that. Action driven is where you visually see things that happen on the screen that move your story forward. So if you've ever seen a film that has a lot of action going on, let's say there's like, for example, let's say that there's a document on a desk, and on that document, it says something that's really vital to the story. Maybe it's like a foreclosure on a house or something like that. And so that paper is extremely important, right? Nobody in the script said anything. There was no dialogue about it, but you see it and you know, okay, this is part of the story. This is important to the story. So that would be action driven. So rather than having dialogue telling you what's going on, you visually see what's going on, right? And so you would write that into your action of your script. Now, also, so that's basically the difference between the two. Now, one is not more important than the other. You're actually going to wind up using both in your script. So you're going to be using dialogue and action to drive your story forward. You're going to be using it together. But the way you find out whether it's dialogue driven or action driven is you see what the majority of the time you use. So if you are mostly using your dialogue to drive your story forward, then you have a dialogue driven script. If you're mostly using action to drive your story forward, you are using it's an action driven script. So that's kind of the differences between the two. Now there's a bonus one I'm going to throw in there for you, which is character driven. Character driven just basically means you have really strong characters and their personalities are like driving the story. So like the storyline is really about the characters rather than about everything that's going on around the characters, if that makes sense. So like the story is really focused on the characters and the characters are what drive the story. So that's actually a third little bonus one as well. But essentially you will use all three in some form in your script. So yeah, all right. So, but I really wanted to talk about the main difference between dialogue driven and action driven. Those are the kind of main ones that you tend to use. And I hope that in all your scripts, you are using strong characters and your characters do drive your story forward in some way. And so that's why I kind of put that one in as a bonus, but that's a good one. So, all right, guys. I have closed enrollment for my group classes. So if you are looking to get into group classes, just wait. I'll be opening enrollment and relaunching my courses soon. But I do offer audition prep. I offer private acting classes. I also offer screenwriting classes. So if you have a script that you want read or something like that, I do that. And then also if you are an aspiring director, I also do private directing classes, or let's say that you're trying to do a production and you need some just coaching on directing as well, I do that in my private coaching. So that I offer all year long. So I do have a link to my website. It'll kind of show some of the courses that were launched, but then also if you scroll down, you can see, or you go into the drop down menu, you can actually see my private lessons and audition prep, and you can take a look at that website page. And if you have any questions, you can contact me there. Alrighty, that's it. Until next time, bye for now.